Hi class, so here is my video about my threads map and the concepts I got from it. And basically, as I put all the artifacts together, I tried to obviously find the connection between all of them and what stands out and even how to label the whole thing, like like the main title for it and all that stuff. So what I realized was there are many things I got out of it, and of course it took me a while to do it. It really took me a long time, and of course some questions came up that are all connected to even they interconnect between the artifacts. So altogether, what I because I'm still looking to continue and be part of the ESL teaching environment, I realized that this just carries on. All of this actually carries on, and what I'll the things I'll be doing with it in the future inside a classroom, because there's a variety of ways. There are many topics to explore with students that that you can share with, and it's all about not just the topic itself or whatever you do inside a classroom, even if it's English teaching, but it's also about what you share within that teaching, within that experience. And it's a learning experience. It's also about, I call it shared knowledge in which we also have to become conscious, and we have to become aware that we are living in a technologically revolutionized world, and how this is affecting all of us. So I simply put in the middle, I said, well, teaching outside the box, sharing knowledge to open consciousness in a complex world where information technology expands. That's the whole thing in a title wrapped up together. That's the whole connection I found. And these artifacts, of course, are involved. There are three elements, two, but there's also sort of like a sub element there, regarding all of the artifacts, and it's about the ego, it's about technology, and even ethics. But in a way, ethics is also dealing with the ego here, because one of the main papers is the one on moral values in a changing world, the course, and it was a capstone on making ethical decisions. So I linked that with the ego and the stuff I had with the artifact with ego conflict and communication, and I realized that the ego affects both personal communication in relationships, and it also affects ethical decision making. So it's all connected one way or another, because even inside a relationship, sometimes like a romantic or personal relationship, the ego has a way in affecting that communication. And when you make those certain decisions, which are for good or for worse, the ego is applied there, because it's the false me who thinks it's only the way I do it, it's always correct, and it doesn't work that way. And then the same thing applies with the art artifact, the creative artifact, which is basically about the film, the Gothic in Suspiria, and all the Gothic elements. But in reality, it goes all it's beyond. And what I mean beyond is that here the ego creates an unreal appearance, because the ego is the false me. And it doesn't mean that the ego, that we don't need the ego, but that's something else. It's part of human nature. But in the link here is that the ego may create it creates deception in the way in the ways and the things we see. And that's what was happening in the Gothic in Suspiria 1977. Not everything is what appears to be, and there's an egocentric tendency in the movie, because the ones in charge were using the ballet students for their own benefits, and their atrocious and horrific acts. So it was all about power, and of course ego is logically implied there. And again, when it comes to technology, I combined how technology is enhancing the way we learn and how we learn, the fact that that it's flexible, and the fact that it's also it's shaping the generations to come in the future. And it's not only shaping that, but it's even shaping the way the way we face our death. And death in the death and dying class, I had the trends in the future paper, and it just shows how the traditional ways are being left out and the new burial methods are now taking place, and that's because of technology. But there is an ethical issue there as well, an ethical and egocentric issue, because some companies are multi-million dollar companies are taking control of home funerals or family owned funerals, and they have shaped the industry and made it into a retail one instead of making it into an existential one. So there's no feeling there. So this is how technology is affecting both the death industry, which is my artifact, and my artifact, which is learning enhanced by technology, the one I spoke just a moment ago, and how that technology is affecting the way we learn in positive ways. There are negative sides to it, but also in shaping the generations to come. So altogether, we can see how this combination of technology, ego, makes us plan and make and create decisions that can virtually help us or harm us. So this is why I mold it into something that altogether it's called sharing knowledge to open consciousness in a complex world where information technology expands. So that's the whole basis of my artifact threads put together. I will try not to make this long, and of course you will see it on the image that I have posted. Of course, I'm welcome to all the necessary feedback, to any changes from you, Professor, and from all of my fellow colleagues.